The first stage we will look at is an infant. These are children from newborn to 18 months of age. The psychological task of an infant is to develop a sense of trust of the environment and of significant others. Characteristics of this age group are: perceives the environment as loving, warm, nurturing, or hostile and painful as evidenced by the caretaker's responses to the infant's needs. Requires prompt, consistent attention to needs. Cries to signal something is wrong. Responds best to nurturing, holding, closeness to caretakers. Some stress symptoms are: crying and eating problems signal stress. Severe cases may exhibit lethargy or non-interaction with others or their environment. Their stress stems from not getting needs met and by being separated from significant individuals or nurturers. The next stage is when babies become toddlers. From about 18 months of age until they reach 2 years old, children are referred to as toddlers. During this stage of development, the following can be noted. With regards to psychological tasks, toddlers begin to develop a sense of self as separate from significant others in the environment. The characteristics of this age group are: self-centered, believe actions of others directly relates to their actions, doesn't cope well with numerous changes in routine, needs consistency and routines, fears abandonment, needs nurturing and warmth with their care. Indications of stress symptoms can be unusual or numerous fears, irritability, anxiety or clinginess, regression to earlier age behaviors. Fear of separation or abandonment is exhibited in crying, clinginess, and or asking for absent parent. Here is what you can do to help minimize your toddler's stress during a divorce. Provide nurturing through holding, comforting, closeness. Reassure toddlers of continuing love. Allow some regression to earlier stages. Although they can tolerate longer separations than infants, especially if older siblings are involved, do not separate from the primary caretaker for lengthy periods of time. When children reach the age of being a preschooler, that is the ages of 3 to 5 years old, their primary psychological task is to begin to define themselves and their role within the family. The usual characteristics that can be exhibited at this age are magical thinking, fantasy play, identifying with superheroes in cartoons, and mimicking the roles of adults. They will continue to be self-centered, believing their behavior controls the actions of others. They begin to identify the opposite sex parent in a romantic role. They will still fear abandonment, but will be able to tolerate longer separations from caretaker, but not lengthy separations. Some stress symptoms to be aware of are when children this age blame themselves for problems in the family, when they are anxious, irritable, clingy, fear separation, regress to earlier behaviors, cry and ask for absent parent. Some things you can do include reassure verbally with "I love you" and holding, nurturing and cuddling. Allow the children some regression to earlier behaviors. Make sure to keep their routine consistent and explain what is going to happen to them and rehearse or role-play events. As children grow, during the elementary and middle school years, ages 6 to 13, they begin to change their focus in life. Their main psychological tasks are development of skills and accomplishment of self-worth. The main characteristics of this age group are being an age of absolutes. Things are black or white, or right or wrong. They begin to expand socializing beyond the family, begin to empathize with others' feelings, identify and attach to same-sex parent, expand social skills and interest in physical activities, and acquire many new skills. Stress symptoms to be aware of may include reacting strongly to their parents' pain, assessing situations very morally. They can be very angry with and blame the parent with whom they are living or visiting, exhibit school and or peer problems, and can experience a problem with identity, especially as the sense of self relates to the non-custodial parent. What you can do to help is to give reassurance both physically and verbally, inform the child of what is happening and what will occur, maintain consistent routine, inform teachers of any stress the child is experiencing and get help for school problems, and remember close relatives who have relationships with the child can be supportive. When the teen years arrive, children's main psychological task is to develop a separate identity from their parents. The characteristics of this age group are beginning to move away from family, beginning to reject family activities, dependent versus independent struggles, being concerned about the future. They have a need for peer approval and exhibit self-image problems. Some stress symptoms are feeling torn by loyalty to both parents. They may question marriage as institution, may experience shame, denial, withdrawal, or depression, and may worry about finances of parents. What you can do to help during this time is by explaining what is happening and how it will affect them. Keep the rules consistent but not overly restrictive. Note limitations and expectations. Allow more freedom and choices. Find time to be with adolescent, but be flexible to allow for their schedules. Seek help from school or professionals if behavior warrants, and use team approach whenever possible. Children, especially younger ones, often experience emotional problems before and after visitation. This is a time parents can be particularly helpful in preparing the children for visits and appreciating their pain over the recurring experience of separation. Parents should avoid using the pickup and drop-off moments to engage in any form of conflict. Sharing information, while not owed, is certainly helpful concerning any special circumstances that will occur during a visit. The custodial parent can and should help the child select appropriate clothing and in other ways be supportive in preparing for the visit. Both parents should exhibit the common courtesy of having children ready on time, home on time, and should call each other as soon as possible when changes need to be made. Children need to know what they can count on. Children should count on knowing that you love them. A visitation schedule should be appropriate to the age of the child and sensitive to the periods of anxiety a child may have about separation. A routine schedule should be planned with allowances for some flexibility when special circumstances arise. Older children whose social lives have expanded outside the family should be active participants in visitation planning. Even younger children should be included in discussing visitation schedules. This will help alleviate their sense of powerlessness. Non-custodial parents should find ways of promoting their child's connectedness in their lives. Children should have a space in each home that feels like theirs. Routines, including chores, might help establish a greater sense of family. Meeting friends of parents is part of normal family life and certainly helps children of divorce who worry about their parents' loneliness, though competing with other adults for attention would be unfair. Parents should use discretion in introducing dates to their children and guard against the child becoming emotionally attached to someone who may not continue to be around. Children can adjust to parental differences over rules. Children certainly learn during marriage who to ask for what. Developmentally, children cope better with some consistency because it helps them have a sense of order. Ideally, parents should communicate routines about bedtime, time for homework, etc. They must also accept their limits of control when the child is with the other parent. The custodial parent should plan to use visitation time well. The non-custodial parent should recognize the need for the custodial parent to meet adult needs during this time and minimize changes in schedules. By taking time for self, the custodial parent will be a more effective parent.